good evening or morning, everyone, and welcome live. It's the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Bob Pompeani here. We're very thankful you stayed up with us tonight. We have a lot to get into. We will talk about some of the big issues going on in sports. We'll also talk about the best thing we saw today. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown with the Steelers and their 9-0 start, 7 games left on a perfect season. Here to talk about it is your panel. We have Rich Walsh over in Studio B. Joining us tonight is Chris Mueller from the PM show on 93.7 The Fan. You can see him. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in Mueller's house and on his body tonight. And we have Jeff Hathhorn, outstanding beat reporter for the Steelers and Pitt Panthers at 93.7 The Fan. All right, so let's start right into this, guys. I can't help but start by Ben Roethlisberger. He continues to be in the middle of an amazing season, really 38 years old, coming off that elbow. Jeff, I'll start with you on this one. If I had told you with the wind conditions going into this game that he would throw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and this would be an aerial assault as opposed to a running game, which I thought would happen based on the wind, what would you have said?
I would have said they probably would have lost the game. I just don't, I don't know if Ben gets enough credit because they can't run the football. That's one thing if you have a running game and you're able to do some play action, but why would the Bengals have bitten on any play action? What Roethlisberger did is he, again, put the team on his shoulders and was able to find a way to get a victory. It wasn't pretty early on. It was a little sloppy early on. But Roethlisberger once again made plays. And you can have all the rankings that you want, but at least in the AFC North, there is no doubt I want Ben Roethlisberger on my team.
I would say maybe in the entire AFC right now, I'd want Ben Roethlisberger as the quarterback. He's playing maybe his best football ever. He's a big reason the Steelers are 9-0. I don't know what their record would be without Ben Roethlisberger. We saw that show last year, but Ben is the big reason why they are 9-0. But like you said, Bob, I wouldn't have thought this would have been the game plan, throwing 46 times with the wind conditions out there. But we know Ben. He wants the ball in his hands. He's a winner. He can lead this team. They don't have a running game right now. That's clear. And plus, even when they do run, I think they should go back to what New England did when New England was winning the Super Bowls. You just need a running back for every situation, and just don't try to fool anyone. James Conner should not be trying to run outside. I mean, that's clear, right?
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
The way things are going right now, shouldn't be trying to run, but that's neither here nor there. And Richie, don't make me, I'm in a festive mood. Don't make me remind you that Patrick Mahomes still plays in the AFC, all right? We can have Ben Roethlisberger, silver medalist right now, but please do not besmirch the Super Bowl champion and the reigning Super Bowl MVP.
Hey, I could be a homer tonight. I grew up in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are 9-0.
I'll tell you what, that's fair. You take Ben Roethlisberger on your team. I'll take Patrick Mahomes. We'll meet in the schoolyard. I'll feel very good about betting all my marbles. But, that having been said, as probably the preeminent and most harsh critic of Roethlisberger, maybe almost to a fault at times, I've got to say this was very impressive. Regardless of the team they were playing, regardless of whether or not Cincy is a good defense, they're not. I thought that what was most striking about this was you saw Cleveland playing in similar wind conditions and everyone kind of batting down the hatches. If you had any concerns about Ben Roethlisberger's arm health or arm strength, I would think he answered it by just absolutely slinging darts through kind of like crosswinds the whole game. I mean, there were a lot of games played outdoors in bad weather in the Northeast. There was only one where the quarterback or a quarterback put up monster numbers, and it was this one. This was very impressive. All the more so in the complete absence of any kind of running game whatsoever.
All right, let's talk more about, we'll get to that running game in a second, but Rich, I want to start with you on this one about Roethlisberger in the AFC North. Let's just keep it within the division. Is he the best quarterback in this division right now? And over the next, not this year, but the next 2 years, let's say, who would you rather have as your quarterback in the AFC North?
I want Ben Roethlisberger. Definitely this year, and if you're saying this year and next year, no question about it, I'm taking Ben Roethlisberger. If you're going to say, hey, 5 years down the road, that's a different story. And I don't even know if I'd want those other guys. Lamar Jackson could get hurt. We don't know much about Joe Burrow right now, but he looks like he could potentially be a star. I want nothing to do with Baker Mayfield. Right now, Ben Roethlisberger, it's debatable right now. We heard the debate. I think he's the best quarterback in the AFC right now. Not to mention that, I mean, just if we're talking about the division, no question about it, he's the best quarterback in the division.
Yeah, Richie, I mean, I
I
like your enthusiasm, but, Chris is right. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback
Patrick
in the
who?
AFC.
Patrick who?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Patrick who? That guy.
Why are we
Patrick
doing
who in
this?
Kansas
Is this
City.
because it's after midnight? Come on, Richie.
But Ben is the best in the AFC North, and for the next, as long as he stays healthy, for the next couple of years, I want Ben Roethlisberger as the quarterback. Lamar Jackson hasn't proven he could win anything except against bad teams in the regular season and have a fun offense. And while I like Joe Burrow, and if you told me 5 years from now, who would I want as quarterback? I'd want Joe Burrow. But for right now and for next year, assuming he's healthy, I want Ben Roethlisberger.
I mean, I would put this in sort of an open-ended question, and a buddy of mine texted this to me today, and he too is like kind of a guy who grudgingly gives Roethlisberger credit. He just said, Chris, have you ever seen this guy playing better? I mean, and I haven't. I know they haven't put together, and I've been critical of them and him for not putting together full 60-minute games, but when he has been on, it has been scary. No, he's absolutely the best quarterback in the division right now. Lamar Jackson played in basically a monsoon tonight, but he still could do very little. They're looking a little bit shaky. Mayfield, it's better when he gets out of the way. They had 2 running backs go over 100 yards. That's pretty clearly their plan in Cleveland. I happen to think Burrow's going to be really good, but not right now, not yet. Right now, it's Ben Roethlisberger's division, and the rest of those guys are looking up at him in the standings and in terms of performance.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Lamar Jackson still cannot overcome deficits, and we saw that again tonight when he falls behind by 10. And I say it's a team game. I realize that. But at the same time, when they trail, he can't dig them out of a hole. And, Jeff, when you're 0-6 when trailing by 10 or more, that is a problem. I think people are waiting to see Lamar Jackson actually win a game before they anoint him this elite quarterback.
Well, and there used to be more of them, but it's like watching the option offenses. I think there's maybe 2 that still exist. But back in the day when you watched those and those teams would get behind, they couldn't come back because they couldn't throw the football. Lamar Jackson's a little better than your average option quarterback at throwing the football, but that's not what he's proficient at. And when they get behind, that limits what they can do offensively, and we've seen it not just once or twice, but we've seen it more than a handful of times, which has got to be troubling if you're a Ravens fan.
I don't know if you guys agree with me here, but I'm going to say Lamar Jackson reminds me of maybe a better version of Cordell Stewart. You have a couple good years, and then he kind of fades away. That's what I think is going to happen here. I could be wrong, but yeah, he can't lead a team back. Their offense is based on running and getting a lead and holding that lead, and when they trail, they're in big trouble.
He was the deserving MVP last year. The league has punched back considerably, and now the ball is very much back in his court. I think that's a pretty neat and tidy summation of the Lamar Jackson career arc thus far.
It's true. And we'll find out what they go from here because it's 6-3 and a big game coming up on Thanksgiving night in Pittsburgh. And right now, the Steelers can afford to lose that game and still win this division. When we come back, though, we're going to talk about 2 nagging issues. And when you're 9-0, there shouldn't be many, but these are nagging issues. The run game, both offensively, what to do with it, and defensively, how to shut it down. That's next when we continue live right here. It's the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown on KDKA.